Eden Zero continues to be one of my favorite reads. Legitimately, this was another amazing chapter as we get more information on the flashback from 20,000 years ago that is going to lead us to the actual creation of Mother, as well as fleshing out the origins of the Shining Stars and most likely the rest of the Dark Stars, and the origins of Shiki, of who he is, and the potential deal he makes with Mother in this past life. And I'm not gonna lie, Mashima has been killing it these last few chapters, and I just cannot wait to see what he's been cooking for this flashback as we continue along. Before we get into this review, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps, and shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Eden Zero has been doing a lot better on the channel now, and I really want to keep doing this, and hopefully up until the series ends, which will probably be 2025, if I have to be completely honest with you, with the pace we're at right now. I'm just excited, so let's just get right into the video. Eden Zero Chapter 273, titled Purification, as we get a nice cover image of Rebecca in a bikini. Nothing else, just wanted to mention that. I feel like someone is going to mention that in the comments that I didn't bring it up, so I'm bringing it up now. Looks great. Anyway, moving on into the chapter. We're back on Earth 20,000 years ago, as we're in Ivory's room in the hospital, as Cooper, her doctor, begins to explain to her that humans, animals, plants, the earth, the sky, all things have a stream of energy flowing through them, and that's what they call ether. And that they all assume that at their current level of science, it would be way too difficult for them to prove. But recently, a certain doctor named Yuna has written a thesis that does prove its existence. As Ivory repeats the name Yuna with a question mark, all of a sudden, we have Yuna, Regret, and Mio pop into our hospital room as they say hello and that they brought gifts. And Cooper drops some pretty interesting pieces of information, as apparently Ivory, Regret, and Yuna were college classmates, so they knew each other since college, showcasing that they were already really close friends for a long time, even when they all went into their separate careers. And I just like how they're interacting within this chapter. As Yuna just says, we can't seem to get rid of each other, and Regret says, although it has been some time since we've all been together like this. And Ivory just comments, would you believe that she's actually a defense attorney, referring to Regret. And then Ivory notices Mio in the background as she asks who she is. Mio nervously introduces herself and that she came all the way from Japan to visit Yuna. And I just like how Hermit's past life as Mio, she's just pretty timid by being introduced to new people. I just find that adorable. But anyway, basically she came here with her friend, and I like how Yuna is teasing her that this person who is actually killer in the future might be her boyfriend, but Mio just looks uninterested and is like, he's not my boyfriend, he's just a friend from high school. But Yuna goes on to say that she and her friend had been doing some interesting research, and that it has to do with Ivory's whole ether therapy treatment. And Ivory ends up asking what they mean, as we then cut to 3 months later in a park as Regret and Ivory are walking. As Regret asks Ivory how she's feeling, Ivory with a huge smile on her face says, honestly, I can't believe how great I feel. I can't believe that I'm outside walking around again. And I just like seeing Sister be all wholesome in her past life as Ivory. It's just, I just want to give her the biggest hug in the world. It's just really wholesome and I love it. Curious to see how her personality has shifted so drastically into the sadistic dominatrix nun that we all know and kind of want to be stepped on by. Anyway, back to wholesomeness, because this chapter for the most part is actually very wholesome. Regret asks if Ivory had her usual checkup today, and Ivory says yeah, and there were no problems. I'm fit as a fiddle, as she begins to run around, saying that now I can jump and run around however I want, with the, again, the most wholesome smile, as Regret just looks at her friend with legitimately one of the nicest and most relieved smiles I have seen. I know people are going to do the whole like witch sistership, but if there's any chapter that really makes that ship very highly possible, if she wasn't already married to Wizard in her past life and was going to have a child, I'd ship this. I really would. This is wholesome as hell and I love it. That in the last 2.5 years have been really big for Yuri in many anime, so hey, why not more? I'm just saying. Ivory then stops and says, I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused everybody. Regret states that she didn't cause any trouble and that they're just relieved that she's feeling all better. But Ivory goes on to say, you're helping Yuna and Mio with some experiment, right? Would you let me help too? I don't know what this experiment is, but I want to do something. As we then cut to Yuna's research lab, as she is actually with Mio. She gets off the phone and reveals that that was actually Ivory's hospital and that there is no problems with Ivory's conditions. She has no mysterious tumors and no signs of metastasis. And Mio ends up saying how good the news is. As Yuno says, in other words, we've proven that ether itself has self-purification abilities. As we then see a full page just showcasing the Earth with ether lines from ether gear all around it. So obviously foreshadowing the whole ether gear overdriving the planet type thing. Mio goes on to state that they actually might have a chance, and Yuno says exactly, our world's ether may be drying up, but if we can get that in the entire Earth's ether to hit its critical point, Mio finishes the sentence by saying, then we can make the planet overdrive. It's our only hope of saving our planet, as we see out at an overshot of the city that they're in, as we then have a bit of a breeze, as Mio then ends up saying that they kind of feel bad for Ivory because they kind of used her as some kind of a guinea pig. Yuno stops her saying, don't be ridiculous, as she has the smuggest look on her face saying she was definitely a guinea pig. I just love this. I love their whole group dynamic. It's just amazing. I love them. As Regret, in the present day, replying to Ivory saying that she wants to help, just chuckles and says, help with the experiments? Don't worry. You've already helped plenty enough. I assure you of that, as Ivory was literally the one who proved their theory in the first place. I love the Shining Stars so much, whether it be in the main story and timeline right now or in their past lives, or just these very few interactions in this chapter. It's just nice. But we cut back to Shiki and Rebecca as they're viewing all this through Mother, as they're like, make the planet overdrive, is that why it changed shape right now? Happy is wondering if and that's what made Earth turn into Mother, and Pino asks, does that mean that the plan they discussed here was a success? But Shiki then asks the important question, where do I come into all of this? Rebecca states it was 20,000 years ago, and Shiki says, well, yeah, but I made a promise. I had to make some kind of choice. Mother then says, let's move forward a bit. A few months later, as we then skip to Wizard and Witch as they're holding a little baby, as they all instantly realize, and Mother ends up confirming this, that is in fact a baby Shiki. The Shiki that we are seeing right now, that is who this is. A newborn Shiki, and that is adorable. And I just love how everyone is just smiling. Rebecca, Happy, and Pino are just having the most wholesome smile looking at baby Shiki, as Shiki just like, wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Does that mean that Witch is actually my real mother? Which, quite literally, and I think we've all kind of figured this out back when we were getting the first reveals of the 20,000 years ago flashback, and the whole Witch being pregnant with a child, maybe naming it Shiki thing. This puts the whole Witch sacrifice at the end of the Aoi War even more heartbreaking upon a reread with this new information, because she actually was Shiki's literal mother protecting her child, and she wasn't even knowing it. It's just crazy. It just makes it hurt even more. I'm tearing up while thinking about it right now, so let's just move the hell along before I break down while I record this video. As Shiki comes to the realization that Witch was in fact his actual mother, the mother says that their happiness did not last long, as the final page of the chapter showcases mass destruction in cities and a volcano erupting, showcasing that the countdown to Earth's destruction had already begun, ending the chapter. So, from what I can get from this, shortly after Shiki's birth was when the planet lost enough ether that it was starting to collapse on itself and causing even more natural disasters to the point where the planet itself was going to die, maybe even self-implode, based off of the panels that we've gotten. And chaos was going to start running through the streets immensely, and I cannot wait to see how all this is solved, how the Shining Stars in her past lives cause Mother to overdrive, what this has to do with Shiki and the eventual promise, how Ziggy comes into all this, because remember, earlier on with these flashbacks, Ziggy was showed up at the end of a single chapter 20,000 years ago to a ruined and destroyed world. So Ziggy still has to tie into all this, and we got Shiki as well. So a lot of moving pieces, and perhaps how the Shining Stars and even the Dark Stars tie into this overarching narrative, and how Mother essentially made them be reborn as the androids that they are right now in the future. And at the end of this, Shiki will still have to make his decision on whether to save Mother or not. That is a heart-wrenching and very difficult decision that still needs to be made. Everybody has been thinking that maybe Shiki will make a third option, which is honestly always the case when it comes to these types of stories. Even in Fairy Tail, we had something similar with Natsu becoming a demon or a dragon. He chose to be human. But I think with Eden Zero, it has to be a bit more nuanced or self-sacrificial for Shiki in order to save literally everybody. And heck, Mashima a while ago, I can't even find this. This was an afterword of one of the recent volume releases that he said that Shiki and Rebecca's story, he'll try not to make the ending too sad. So it can mean that somebody is going to die. One or both of them is going to die at the end of the series. But he could always change at the end of the day. He's still writing it as we speak, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that's all from me today. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling. What did you guys think of this chapter? Did you like the Shining Stars and their backstory, their relations to each other, and their group dynamics? How they're coming up with how to save the planet? How do you think this flashback is going to shape out? Are you enjoying the flashback in and of itself and where Eden Zero is going right now? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows the content I make here on the channel is what you guys want to see. And it'll keep me more encouraged to keep doing the Eden Zero videos as often as I do. I want to make sure these videos keep doing well so I can cover Eden Zero up towards its inevitable finale. So, let's keep going. And with all that said and done, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.